So we just watched a movie, and I just spilled my drink on myself.
I think you're cut off there.
Alright. We just watched a movie, and we're going to talk about it.
It's an oldie, but a goodie.
Yeah, honestly.
I enjoyed it.
I thought it was pretty good. So we watched 12 Angry Men. The movie came out in 1957 and was directed by Sidney Lumet. And it's a very simple film. Basically, it's about 12 men on jury duty. And the whole movie basically just consists of discussing a murder trial, and whether or not a boy killed his father or not. And that's basically what the movie is.
Yeah, it seems like it would be very simple and not much to it, but some of like the facts and the points that the characters bring up end up being like really good.
I agree with that.
And it really gets you thinking too, because at first you're not sure. So like when the movie starts, you have no idea how court even went for the boy. It literally just starts off with the men in jury duty, and that's it. So basically, you are just going off of what these 12 men are saying about what happened without you seeing it for yourself. Which I guess is technically what jury duty kind of is anyway. So like it kind of just makes you as part of like the jurors.
Right.
Discussing it. Basically, you don't know what to think at first, whether or not he is guilty. You just kind of have to listen to everything and kind of like put two and two together. And then there's people on both sides that make really valid points too. So like on one end you're thinking, oh well, no, that could be something too, and then you got one on the other side that brings up another point, and then you're like, oh no, see, but that could also be possible. So you're really kind of going back and forth throughout the whole thing.
Right. Well, something I found really interesting is that at the very beginning of the movie, it seems so clear that like all the evidence was there. But as the movie progresses and we learn more and more, as evidence starts to fall through the cracks and it doesn't really hold up to scrutiny.
Smaller details about the court session gets brought up, like some markings that are on the witnesses and how they're like presenting themselves and what they how they are like on their day-to-day lives. Like the one that turns out ended up needing to wear glasses on her everyday life, but in court she didn't have her glasses on.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that was a detail that was obviously missed.
Now, why were you rubbing your nose like that?
Well, if it's any of your business, I was rubbing it because it bothers me a little.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is it because of your eyeglasses?
It is. Now, could we get on to something else?
Your eyeglasses made those two deep impressions on the sides of your nose. I hadn't noticed that before. That must be annoying.
It is very annoying.
Oh, I wouldn't know about that. I've never worn eyeglasses. 20/20.
Listen, will you come on already with the optometrist bit?
The woman who testified that she saw the killing had those same marks on the sides of her nose.
Holy smokes, you know it's right.
Yeah, it's things like that that just build and build throughout the movie. I also want to point out that even though this movie is old, I think I looked it up, the cinematographer's name is Boris Kaufman. And the way that the shots were, there's a lot of long takes in the movie. There's also a lot of scenes of where like the characters are just kind of walking from one side of the room to the other and like crossing around each other, going and having their own little private conversations off over here and over there. you know?
Yeah, you don't really see that in movies much anymore, so
No.
I kind of appreciated that a little bit.
You could tell there was a lot of similar to theater, there's a lot of blocking going on.
Yeah.
Where, like, this is where you walk over here, and this is when you're supposed to go over here,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And even in the opening shot, where it opens, if you haven't seen it, the movie opens on the shot of a courthouse, and then we go inside, and then it pans around, and we see a man walking, like, into the courtroom, right?
Yeah.
And then we hear the judge talking to the jury, basically telling them, like, hey, you've heard what evidence we have, and now it's up to you to decide the fate of this young man, and it's either going to be he goes free or he gets the death penalty. There's no in between. So they go in and they have their conversations. But I don't know. I just thought the way the movie was filmed was interesting.
Yeah. No, it was. It kind of brings me back a little bit to, like, the theater days and,
Right.
like, English class and everything. Because I think I had already seen this movie once before.
Mm-hmm.
And it was in my high school English class.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't know what the name of the movie was or, like, how it ended or anything. Like, I didn't really remember it. But as soon as we started watching it, I was like, oh, wait, I think I've seen this before. And so it was kind of like watching it all over again, like, just as a never been watched before movie. So, but I think that was interesting because English and theater were two of the things I was most interested in high school. And, like, in those two classes, we watched a lot of the older movies, like a lot of the black and white and musical movies, so I appreciate those a lot anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's just another reason why I enjoyed the movie, is just because I'm a sucker for those type of movies regardless.
Oh yeah, for sure. And you know, speaking of theater, the movie almost kind of like presents itself like a play.
Yeah, it really does. I think mainly because it takes place just in the one room.
Yeah.
And obviously in a play, that is what essentially would happen. Which there's some, like, change of scenes and everything, but it's nothing too dramatic. It essentially still takes place in the same spot. And I think that's another reason why it was kind of, like, so good, because it's hard to make movies like that without them being, like, cheaply made or anything. Then again, it was the 50s, but still a good.
You got to, if anybody's acting was off, if one person messed up at any point in time doing on their job what they're supposed to do, because of how tight the set is and how, I mean, the movie relies heavily on its performances from its actors. If the actors are not putting in 100%, the movie doesn't work.
Yeah.
And they're like, I think that, like, acting from the 1950s is different than acting today.
Mm-hmm.
And just the way that, but also the way that people act is a little different as well, you know? But, like, I thought a lot of the people were actually very good.
Yeah.
Some really solid performances.
And there were very, like, well-known, famous actors in the movie, too.
Yeah.
Like, Henry Fonda was in it.
Mm-hmm.
And, I forgot his name already, but the guy that voices Piglet. On Winnie the Pooh was also on it. And it's so funny because it literally sounds like him.
Yeah.
So you're just sitting there like, I know that voice. And then when you pull it up, you're like, oh, that's why. John Fiedler.
John Fiedler, the voice of Piglet.
Yeah. From the classic Winnie the Pooh.
But he did voice Piglet up until the very end.
Yes, he did. He was very short, too.
He was a short
5'4".
Yeah.
Talks about him, so.
Taller than you.
Okay, not by much, though, and it's normal for a girl to be short.
Oh, okay. Let's see how it's going to be.
So, yeah. And I'm just chilling in my pajamas, so.
It's movie night, alright? I'm just too lazy to get up and put pajamas on. but I wasn't lazy enough to get this drink and watch that movie. Also, Joseph Sweeney, he plays basically just the old man character in the movie. I love that guy.
I loved his character. Oh my gosh, he was
Every
adorable.
time he had something to say, loved every minute of it.
His reactions too, he'd just be like, oh, and then he'd say something. It was like, yeah,
It was good.
it was adorable. I loved him.
Minor spoilers, but there's a scene where one of the characters is throwing paper wads at a fan, and one of the paper balls hits the old man in the head, and he's...
That's a damn stupid thing to do.
It's so good.
Yeah. Just the acting in it in general. I do like how... I did enjoy how, like, it's kind of realistic to how, I guess, a typical... Of that time, I'm sure, of course. How, like, typical jury duty would go. Because obviously everyone has to agree on the verdict. And it was... there was a lot of back and forth going on with a lot of the characters. Because at first it starts out with only just one saying that this kid wasn't guilty, and then as he started explaining his theories and his facts and how it was kind of making a lot of sense, actually, more started slowly seeing the same thing and was like, oh yeah, no, you're probably right, I don't think he's guilty either. And it all then it kind of like reversed, where everyone thought he was not guilty except for one, because there's always that one stubborn person who just will not, like, budge on his opinion at all whatsoever.
Something I found interesting, and this is getting into more spoilers, but listen, the movie came out in 1957, okay? You can cut the video off and just go watch the movie. It's available for free on Tubi. It's also probably other places. If you don't want to hear the spoilers for it, go off. But something that was interesting to me, and I think I brought it up to you just for a second right after we watched the movie. There was a conversation that the man, I'm horrible with character names, but the man that was the most adamant that he was guilty, right? During discussion, he said, was talking about his son, right?
Yeah.
That he had, like, been really strict on his son, right? And when he got older, they fought, right? And then he also said that he hadn't spoken with his son in a couple of years.
Father beat him up regularly. He used his fists.
Well, so would I. A kid like that? Huh.
It's these kids, the way they are nowadays. When I was a kid, I used to call my father Sir. That's right, Sir. You ever hear a kid call his father that anymore?
Fathers don't seem to think it's important anymore.
You got any kids?
3?
I got one. 22 years old. When he was 9 years old, he ran away from a fight. I saw it. I was so embarrassed, I almost threw up. I said, I'm going to make a man out of you if I have to break you in two trying. Well, I made a man out of him. When he was 16, we had a fight. Hit me in the jaw. He's a big kid. Haven't seen him for 2 years. Kids. Work your heart out.
It is my belief on what my interpretation of it is that he is taking personal experience and his own vendetta with his son and how he thinks maybe how his son may feel about him, or how he's a certain way that he feels about his son right now, and he is relating that into this case.
Yeah. I got that too, especially toward the end when he kind of just snapped and like just broke down. That's where it was kind of like, yeah, it was more of a personal issue than it was the actual situation.
I'm telling you, everything that's going on has been twisted and turned. This business with the glasses? How do you know she didn't have them on? This woman testified in open court. And what about hearing the kid yell? Huh? I'm telling you, I've got all the facts here. Here. Well, that's it. That's the whole case. Well? Say something. You lousy bunch of bleeding hearts. You're not going to intimidate me. I'm entitled to my opinion. Rotten kids, you work your life out. No. Not guilty.
And
What's happening?
the beautiful thing about it is like it's not like something they have to hammer you over the head with. They don't bring up this guy and his kid like 15 times in the movie. It's brought up once, and then at the end a little bit, and that's it.
Yeah.
So it doesn't like put baby gloves on for the audience. It expects you to be watching and paying attention to the movie. It
Yeah,
expects
like you still have to take everything that's being said
Mhm.
and discussed and like kind of put it together yourself
Mhm.
and kind of figure out what's happening. So like when that little like clip happens with the man's son and everything, even though it was quick, it still kind of got you thinking about that, like, oh, wait a minute, that might have something to do about why he is heavily, like, feeling very heavily about, you know,
Exactly, yeah.
his decision. But he's not doing it logically.
Well, I think it's also important to note that all these men come from a variety of different backgrounds.
Yeah, that is
Right.
true, because they didn't know each other at all. Neither
No.
one of them knew each other. And, which, of course, that's typically how jury duty is anyway. You're not supposed to know
Right.
each other. But I think stories like that are really cool, though, because it gets people from different backgrounds, different opinions and perspectives, and, like, you have to just join together and talk about it and discuss it. Whether you agree or not, as long as you spend that time together, it's kind of like a bonding time in a way, like, where they all ended up kind of seeing each other's point of view, because even the one who originally didn't think this guy was guilty, he even admitted a couple times, like, no, I do see your point as well. But at the same time, still not straying away from what he thought either. Like, one of those, yeah, I do see what you're saying, but I do still strongly believe in what I feel. And that's totally okay to do. You can still respect someone else's opinion and still stick with your own, which is a lot of what I feel like people don't do today. But that's a whole
It's a
nother
whole
thing.
different- it's a whole
But
different thing.
But seeing that though is really like heartfelt, because it's like, yeah, that's how it should be. And they ended up coming with a solution in the end. And like, even though it was a lot of bumps in the road, a couple fights even
Oh yeah.
started happening,
Mhm.
but they ended up working it out.
All right. So, final verdict on the movie.
But I think it was really good. I enjoyed it, and I think they made the right decision.
Me too. If you had to give it a score, like 1 to 10, right?
Yeah, I mean, I
So-
wasn't bored of it. Like, there wasn't any moment where
I didn't.
I
Give it
remotely got bored at all. So, I mean, for that, I would probably say, in that perspective, I would say maybe, definitely high numbers, maybe about an 8.
I shook the camera. What were you gonna say?
Maybe an 8.
8's a solid number. I'm gonna give it a 9. So we'll call it 8.5. And
Yeah.
I would give it a 10, but the movie as it is very, very good.
Yeah.
You know, like you're like, especially for movies made back then, you're not gonna find a whole lot that are a lot better. There are a few.
There's
But-
some movies that just don't need to be remade, and I think
Well,
this is
apparently
one of them.
They made it already. They did it in
What?
97. Yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah. Yeah. The funny thing is that the one from 1957 still stands at 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. The one from 1997 is at 96. So apparently both are pretty decent, I guess.
Yeah. I guess that would kind of make sense. I mean, because it's like with Psycho, and then the remake of Psycho is literally just the same freaking movie. Just.
That is that's a discussion for another video. Okay.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So we're saying 12 Angry Men, 8.5 points on our enjoyment scale. On my personal filmmaking scale, it's a 10 out of 10 for the time period. It's a classic for a reason.
Mhm.
That if you like this video and like to see more like it, you can subscribe, hit the like, tap the bell, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.